Hi there, it's Beauty Junkie. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to get into Rephr brushes in detail. This is the core collection. These are the rest of the brushes. I don't have all of them. There's been a few iterations of these brushes that have come out, plus some other ones that I have not picked up. But overall, this is pretty much the Pro collection and the core collection. And there's a sale going on through November 8th, 2020. On the core collection, plus 20% off on any other individual brushes. They also have a holiday set that is, I believe, nude this year, and I picked it up and it's about 50% off right now. And the value of one of those brushes is pretty much worth the other two, and I will get into the holiday collection as well. So I'm going to be showing you the details of these. We're going to be talking about the sale, and I'm going to apply some makeup with these brushes today. First, let's start off with the perfume of the day. This is Caput Mundi Extrait de Parfum Caput Mundi Luna Collection Tisana Terenzi. I have no idea. I got a sample of this. I think I've smelled this before. I don't know. This is an interesting scent that I really can't place. It's kind of masculine and earthy, woodsy, and peppery. It's not really my favorite, but we're gonna move on. I don't want to go into a description that isn't really accurate. Alright, I have primer on my face. I'm just gonna tie my hair back for now, and we're going to get into the details of the sale. So Rephr, if you haven't heard from them, it's R-E-P-H-R, and it's supposed to be like refer. So the whole idea behind this brand, it was a Kickstarter brand, and I believe these two guys that started it were in computers, and they decided, I don't know, that they wanted to create makeup brushes. And because they don't know anything about makeup, they decided to design their products based on users' input and feedback. So they started out with a couple demo brushes and then got people's feedback and gave out free brushes essentially if you promised to essentially give a review. And then they changed the design based on people's feedback. So very cool concept. And these brushes are kind of based on Japanese design, and they are all goat hair. And I would say the quality is fairly good, especially if you can get them on sale. So this is the core collection. This is 1 through 5. And the Pro collection's also goat hair. If you research brushes, like goat hair is like a very commonly used hair for natural hair brushes. Some brands go into other animals that are softer than goat, and they're generally more expensive, like squirrel hair and whatnot. So this is pretty nice quality and very beautiful design. It's just plain flat matte design here. Has the name and the number on it. It's fairly simple. These numbers aren't going to wear off, at least I don't think they are. And the ferrule looks like this. I really like them. They're just good sturdy brushes. They're not like the softest. You can definitely get softer with synthetic. You can definitely get softer with natural hair. But I really like these brushes. I think they're really underrated and great for the price. Some of you may have never heard of this brand, and some of you may have heard it over and over again, depending on where you follow in the YouTube beauty community. It seems like a lot of people that I follow talk about Rephr a lot, but some of you may have been under a rock and not heard of them. It can seem like the amount of YouTubers that talk about it can seem overhyped, but I think they're really great quality. Can you get better? Yes. But you know, I think there's some brushes that really do stand out and are pretty good. So let's talk about, so anyways, they kind of developed as a Kickstarter. I bought my brushes at a really good discount to fund the Kickstarter. I think I got everything like half off essentially. And I was super happy about that. It took a while to get to me, but they had to make them. So anyways, this is like the second maybe or third year. I'm not really sure. This is still a relatively new company. And they generally do sales at the end of the year like they're doing now. And what I'm really happy about is they're releasing their bronzer brush. Because it was, a lot of people have it that kind of got involved early on with this brand. But I never got it, and I'm glad to pick it up now. But otherwise, like, they have a lot of brushes. You can buy them individually or as sets. I generally recommend getting some sets, but I do have some favorites if you prefer to go the individual route. And let's get into the sale. So let's talk about the core collection. You can get this set. So this is number 1 through 5. So this is number 1. This is like a basic shape eye brush for blending. This is number 2. This is kind of your flat packer brush for eyeshadow. Number 3, one of my favorite brushes. This is like a narrow pencil, perfect for doing the under eye blending or application of eyeshadow. This is number 3. Number 4 is like an angled blush brush. Not exceptionally like unique, but still nice and dense. And number 5 you can use kind of as an overall powder brush. It's about a medium size. And this is 1 through 5. So this is the core collection. And I think it's important to have a powder brush, a blush brush, and several different eye shapes. I think this is a great foundation to build on. If you don't have good quality brushes in these shapes, definitely check out the core collection. I probably use the blush brush the least out of these, and the eye brushes I use more of. Powder brush, I have some other powder brushes that I use more than this one, but I don't mind this one either. So this is normally $168 for the set, and until November 8th, you can get this whole set for $88. I picked this up as a gift for a family member, so especially because you get pretty much half off right now. It's a pretty good deal. I mean, if you think about it, it's a little over, most brushes are like 20 bucks a piece. So you can get 5 of these for less than that per brush. That's pretty good. They also have a 20% off sale individual brushes. And now this is going to apply to the Pro collection. So this is numbering's a little weird on this brand. They skip some numbers. So we're starting with brush number 12 and we're going through brush 20. So these are the face brushes here. These are the eye brushes in the Pro collection. And you essentially can buy these individually at 20% off, and I can give you some of my recommendations. I will say I use the fan brush a lot. This is number 20. It's a little bit frayed out, but it's probably me not taking care of it. It's a little bit dirty. But I really like this fan brush. I have bought some cheaper ones from e.l.f. and they just don't work as well as the natural hair. It's really thin, not like a super thick fan, so perfect for highlight on the nose, on the cheeks, upper lip, above the brow bone, above the eyebrow. I really like the number 20. The number 19, I believe, so this is a candlestick cheek brush. I don't use this one that often. I find it to be a little bit big for cheeks, and it is a little bit pointy. I don't know, just not something I reach for. This is the number 18. So this is 18. This is supposed to be like a dense highlighter kind of a brush. I could see where it could be a highlighter because it's pretty small and detailed and dense. Not my pick for a highlighter, but some of you prefer this kind of a shape for creating highlights all over your face. The last face brush I have to show you is number 17, and this is like a flat little mini coverage builder, I think they call it. I don't really use it, but I am going to use it today for my foundation. Now, I have liquid foundation, so I don't know how this is going to go. I generally don't use liquid products with my natural hair brushes. So we're gonna experiment just to see like how well this does. I think it's a little bit small for the shape that it is. It's like a flat sort of blender. I wish it was a little bit bigger. I think it would make things go a little bit faster for foundation. Let's get on to the eyes. I think there are some interesting shapes in here that are worth noting. This is number 16. This is a really large eyeshadow brush. If you like something nice and big, this is a little bit big for me. I don't use this one a whole lot, but some of you will like a really big brush. The next size down is number 15. A little bit smaller, a little bit more rounded. I think this is, a lot of people are gonna like number 15. Just an overall good blender brush. Now the other ones I have to show you are a little bit more pointed and refined. I think if you have some of Wayne Goss's brushes, these are gonna look like very similar shapes. So if you have any of his like small eyeshadow brushes, you probably don't need number 15 and 13. But these are really good for blending little detail for eyeshadow underneath the eyes. Really nice brushes. Just if you like to have a lot of brushes, it's not bad to have these kind of shapes. If you already have them, just have another one, like a backup. Number 12, I say this one is noteworthy because it's a very unique shape. It's a very dense little blender if you have something that's a little hard to blend out. This dense little kind of flat top, but rounded shape is very unique and interesting. I think you'll be hard pressed to find another brush that is quite this shape. Yeah, very interesting sort of blender there. That's it for the brushes that I own. So think about getting some of these individually. You can get 20% off right now, which is a good deal. Holiday collection. So this is the one I also picked up. This has 3 brushes in it. I'm just looking at my computer over here. The Holiday Collection 2020 has brush 23, 24, and 25. 23 is the smaller sibling of brush number 3. So 23 is going to be even smaller than this guy, which I am like super excited about. If you do like really detailed work, you're going to want a smaller one. So 23 is going to give that to you. 24 is going to be a more substantial version of brush number 5, which is this guy. This is their powder brush. So it's going to be ultra soft, dense, and more substantial version of this, which is nice. I think it could be a little bit bigger. 25 is the new improved brush 11, which I don't have, and that is the popular bronzer brush. And it says it's a new and improved version, so it's not exactly the same as number 11, which is their most requested brush of all time, apparently. And you can get that one. So it looks a little bit narrower than I remember in the picture than their original number 11 bronzer brush, so hopefully this one is just as good. But this one people said was a dupe for the Tom Ford bronzer brush, which is now no longer natural hair. The one they sell now is synthetic, so people were looking for a replacement, and it seemed like the number 11 was a close replacement. But now they've like changed it, which I'm not really sure why. If so many people requested it, why would we want to change the shape? But hopefully it's still good. It looks a little bit narrower than I expected. But let's talk about the value of this entire 3 brush collection. So normally the holiday collection would be $216 right now until November 8th. It's actually $116. So very good deal, $100 off. If you have the opportunity to pick it up now, It's gonna be worth it. You're not gonna regret it. So yeah, that's the details on the sale. I kind of went through the brushes that I felt were a little bit more noteworthy. So if you need to play it back, make your list. I would definitely encourage you to check out their website. It is rephr.com. That's REPHR. And you can see the details of each brush, the company's story, what kind of goat hair they use. All of that info is on there. It does come from Canada, so you'll get an international charge if you're in the US. It didn't say exactly when the holiday set is gonna ship out. Hopefully it ships out like pretty soon after you order. I didn't see the details on that. You know, an underrated brand. I will say overall, if you want to know like how do these brushes feel. So most of these are pretty newly cleaned, so they feel pretty soft. I would say though, as far as like in terms of like scaling natural hair softness, I have other brushes that are natural hair that are softer. But softer isn't necessarily always what you want. I think it's good to have a variety of brushes that are a little bit on the range of like roughness to softness, and I'm not saying these are rough by any means, but I just think these are like your down and dirty, get the job done brush, and they're nice and dense, so they're gonna give you a certain kind of look. If you want something super soft, these aren't gonna be it. If you're expecting like amazing squirrel hair quality from these, it's just not gonna happen. I mean, you're not paying enough money. I'll just say that. Like, squirrel hair is like usually over $100 a brush, so just want to be realistic and keep your expectations, you know, where they should be. Because I'm sure you're going to compare these to your synthetic and be like, these suck. I'm like, but these are probably going to pick up product a lot better than your synthetics. I'll just say that. Okay, so, because Bdellium Tools is a great synthetic brush company. If this is the number 785 tapered blending, this is a good big eyeshadow brush. But if I had to compare it to like the number 16, it's a bit of a different shape. It's probably closest to the number 15. While this is nice, it's a little bit more flimsy, like you can move around the brushes a little easier. This one's more dense, but I can just tell like I'm gonna get a faster eye look out of this brush than this one. Just more densely packed, firmer. These are a stiffer brush company. Like, you're not gonna get a lot of flimsy movement with these brushes. They're like tightly packed. So hopefully these words kind of are key terms for you, trigger terms for you, where you kind of understand what you're gonna get from these. They're not a loosey-goosey, soft, pillow-like kind of brush. These are like your workhorse, get the job done, blender, pigment, picker-upper brushes. I think that's the best way I can describe them. Alright guys, so now that we've gone through all the details, I'm going to do an eye look so you can see these brushes in action on my face and on my eyes. And I'm going to try my best to remember to tell you which brush I'm using throughout the process. So I already have primer on. I want to use a liquid foundation. I'm going to be using the Catrice HD Liquid Coverage. This is in Rose Beige number 20. I'm going to put this on my glass palette. I know it's dirty, but I've used it like once. And I'm going to use the clean corner. So this is a very liquidy foundation. Can't say it's my favorite, but I do want to use it. So I'm going to use this flat top small blender brush. This is number 17. And I'm going to apply my liquid with this. But before I do that, I want to mix in the By Terry CC Brightening Serum just to add a little bit of glow to this foundation. Okay, so I got two products in here. I'm just gonna mix them with my brush. Very, very liquidy foundation. I generally don't recommend using natural hair brushes for liquid, but I don't mind experimenting for you guys. Ooh boy. This looks extremely yellow. Man, that by Terry smells so rosy. Oh boy, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. I generally apply my foundation with a sponge, so I don't even know what I'm doing right now. We're gonna see how this works, and hopefully I don't discredit this brush. I just think it's a little bit small for kind of doing this all around the face. But it looks like it's kind of spreading a thin amount of product over a large area. I am yellow. So I haven't used this foundation that much, but in this lighting, this does not look like the right color. Oh well, we'll just kind of fix it later with some powder, I guess. I look very pink compared to what's going on here. I think I don't need any more coverage, so I'm gonna not use the rest of this. Man, I think I used the wrong foundation for this video. So I'm gonna go in circles, and hopefully this doesn't like pick up some texture in my skin, which I often have trouble with brushes. That's why I like to use sponges to kind of flatten my skin texture out. Because sometimes when I buff, like the dry whatever flakes kind of come up. That's kind of exfoliating my face a little bit. Ooh, that is a dirty, dirty brush now. So I think my foundation looks good, but it's not like completely blended out, and I think also that's my fault because I applied too much foundation, to be honest. So I want to like set things in a little bit more and just kind of take away the coverage a little bit because it's like very thick. You can see where the line is. So I'm gonna like kind of finish the foundation with a damp sponge, and then I will be back. Alright, so I went in with my damp Real Techniques sponge and I removed some of the coverage, and it just made it a little bit more natural looking. I think this foundation probably isn't the best for this kind of brush, but also just from this experience, like I think for me, it's hard to get probably any foundation brush to really work well with my skin and makeup. I just have a difficult time blending with a brush and not bringing up the texture of my skin. But also I feel like when I use a brush, it really dries out the foundation when I'm blending in. And then it's just like stuck to my skin and not necessarily a spot I want it to be stuck to. So I found that like the heavy coverage areas, I had to like really go in with my sponge and try to lift off some of the product. So you have to like really be precise with the amount of foundation you use with a brush. I don't think I would be grabbing that one again, just to be honest. This is again the number 17. I don't really know what it's for. I think if you had like a mineral foundation, you could buff in a powder with it. I'm not sure it's the best for liquid, to be honest. So anyways, moving on. Pat McGrath Labs Concealer. This is L6. This one's a little bit yellow on me, but I think if I have a yellow foundation, we're just gonna go yellow all the way. I don't really have a concealer brush, and I don't think Rephr really makes anything for concealer, so I'm just going to be using my sponge like I normally would. So you want to be really like aware of how much you put in one spot. Alright, I think that's pretty well blended out. Very yellow. I do want to put an under eye powder. I'm going to be using the Pat McGrath light Sublime Perfection powder, this guy here. And now I get to decide what brush I want to use. So I think what makes the most sense is the highlighting brush. This is the number 18. It's a little bit, you know, big, but I think it's gonna do the trick. So just a couple taps, and we're just gonna press this in under both eyes, just to set the concealer, keep it from creasing. I'm gonna like lean towards using a lot of powder products today. Sometimes I use some cream bronzer, but I'm gonna skip that because I don't see these brushes really for cream purposes, to be honest, and I don't want to like ruin these brushes with types of products they really aren't supposed to be used for, and I kind of already did that with the foundation, the liquid foundation. So I'm going to do some bronzing, some blushing, and some highlighting with powder today. So first I want to go in with a setting powder. We're going to use the big powder brush. This is number 5 from the Core collection. And I'm going to go in with the Go Kendo My Fanchi Natural Lighting Powder. And this powder, they say it has a little bit of a glow. I don't really notice it. But this is a loose powder that comes with a poof. But we're just gonna stick it in the brush and swirl, pick up some of that stuff on the edge, and just kind of spread around the product. It feels like very substantial against my face. I feel like not only am I applying product, but I'm buffing it out at the same time. Alright, so now that we have our setting powder on, I want to move on to bronzer. That's usually the order I go in. Setting powder, then bronzer, then blush. Because we're getting into more cooler months, I'm going to be using a lighter bronzer. This is the Tom Ford Glow Bronzer in Terra. I'm going to continue to use the powder brush, the number 5. Sometimes I like to use a little bit more of a pointy brush, more precision for powder or bronzer. But you know, the other pointy brushes are really for blush. So I want to kind of stick with the intended use of these. So I'm using number 5 for bronzer, just to add a little bit of health back to my skin. And you can see like how this is kind of slowly building up some color, and it just gives a really natural buffed out finish, which I really appreciate. You'll notice as I'm applying that there is some shedding, and that's probably because I recently washed these. I'm also doing a lot of buffing movements, but you will lose a couple strays here and there, like any other brush. Alright, bronzer is done. I love how fast that was. Alright, let's move into blush. I want to use this angled brush. This is the number 4. And I want to go in with a very pigmented brush so you can really see how this brush works. I'm going to be using the Jill Stewart Baby Lilac Bloom palette. And these colors are very pigmented, as you can see. So I want to see like how this does. So you can see we're getting some pink in there, but it's not like, oh, I have pink in one spot. Like it seemed to pick up the product but diffuse it like right away. But this is a very pigmented blush. It's important that a blush doesn't just pick up the product and put it right where you place it, and then you can't move it around. You definitely want a brush that's, you know, dense enough to move around pigment without a problem. into highlighter, I want to use the Dior Nude Luminizer. This is 02. This is the pinky, peachy sort of blush. And I'm going to use my trusty number 20 fan brush. And we're going to just pop it on those cheekbones. This is just, it works. The brush works. I don't know how else to describe it. It just does highlighter so easy and so quickly and right where you want it. Just no fuss highlight brush. Alright, so all I have left to really show you in terms of like how the brushes work. I know I didn't use like every face brush, but I have all these eye brushes to show you, and I don't think I'll be able to show you how all of them work in this one video. But I do want to highlight some of them. And today I do want to use a palette probably a lot of you have or have seen in person or are aware of. So you guys can have like a familiar sense of like how these brushes apply compared to how you apply this palette. So this is the Dominique Cosmetics Latte palette. This is the first one. So I'm going to be applying this palette to my eyes today using the Rephr brushes. Now I will try to use 1 through 3 from the core collection so you guys get to see that. So 1, 2, 3 right here. First I'm going to do my eyebrows and lips and then I'll be back. Alright guys, I put on my brows and lips. Let's get into the latte palette. I'm going to be using the number 1 for just to pick up a sheer wash of color. And I'm going to go in with caramel. This kind of warm, tawny color. I don't know what you call this. A warm brown essentially. I did not put any primer on my lids. So you're just getting, there's a little bit of foundation on my lids, but not a lot. So you're just getting the natural sort of look with the brush and the eyeshadow. So you can see how quickly I was able to like put it on, blend it out. This is a pretty powdery formula eyeshadow in my opinion. Like when I stick my brush, it picks up a lot of dust. But I don't seem to have a problem like on my eyelids with fallout. At least that I can see. But you can see how my eyelid's a little bit warmer now. And you can just see like how fast this sort of puts it on, blends it out. Alright, I do want to put on a little bit of vanilla cream, which is this kind of ivory shade, on my brow bone. And I'm going to be using the number 2 flat brush. So just kind of smack it on. And, you know, it shows up pretty well. I do want to create somewhat of a crease, so I'm going to have to move into like a different type of brush from the Pro collection. I'm going to go ahead and use this small sort of pointy brush. This is the number 14, and I'm going to go in with Hazelnut, which is like a warmer, a little bit deeper, warmer brown. Just to add some definition to my crease. And I wanted to pick up just something a little bit more delicate and smaller for this area. So I went pretty heavy with pigment in one spot right here. And you can see like how this brush sort of works to work out that one spot and move it around. But you know, I'm still have the color. It's not like my brush made the color disappear from that spot. It just kind of shifted it to other areas of my eye, which is what we want, right? Now I'm going to use number 1 again just to soften up these edges. I didn't clean it off or anything. There's no product left on here. Just a little extra blending. I'm not going for real defined shapes in this eye look. Alright, I do want to move on to my under eye, and I'm going to be using the number 3 little mini brush. And I want to use Creme Brulee. This is this sort of shiny shade right here. And this is really great for like really detailed areas, and just, you know, being really careful and detailed with the under eye for me is really important. I don't want to create tons of fallout with a giant brush. So a little bitty brush is like perfect. Also good for just tucking things into the inner corner. So you can see hopefully a little bit of shine underneath my eyes. I want to deepen it up a little bit under my eye because it still looks pretty naked. So I'm going to go in with Mocha, which is this deep matte brown. Now I have a little bit of more color underneath my eyes. And then for the inner corner, I'm going to go ahead and use Macchiato. Same brush, number 3. And you can see a little bit of sparkle in the inner corner there. Now I can definitely start here, but I do want to add a little bit of sparkle to my lid. So I'm going to use number 2, the flat sort of packer brush, and I'm going to use espresso on the top of my lids. So I think that's all the eyeshadow I want to apply for this look. You can see I have a variety of tones going on here, and honestly I just see a little bit of minimal fallout with some of those sparkly shades. I'm going to go in with the number 16 like giant eye blender brush and just blend out my crease just a little bit. There we have it. I think this is a nice kind of boring but neutral eye look, and I think you can get a sense of how these brushes kind of blend out and apply eyeshadow. I think they do a pretty nice job with not a lot of effort, which is really important and what you should look for in a brush. We don't want to struggle with our eyeshadow. I'm gonna apply some mascara to complete the look, and I will be right back. Alright guys, I do want to apply a little bit of a finishing powder. This is the Guerlain Meteorites Compact, and I'm going to be using the number 19 brush just for a little something extra. I am pretty happy with this look. My foundation's a little bit heavy. But I think the brushes did like a really nice job of blending everything out really nicely. That's why I bought more brushes, and I bought, you know, some brushes as a gift, because I think, you know, for the deal going on right now, these are really good quality for what you get, and I can't complain really. I mean, they clean up nicely. I use Dr. Bronner's Castile soap to clean my brushes, all of my brushes, including my natural hair. And you know, just because like some people worry about like white goat hair getting stained, I don't really have an issue with these brushes of staining. I don't use a whole lot of staining colors that often though, so you know, keep that in mind. But I definitely recommend picking up something from this collection. If you already have a lot of brushes, I totally get it. Like, do you need more? Probably not, but there are some unique shapes in here. I think it's worth trying at least one. I'm really excited to get the bronzer brush finally. Hopefully I like it. But yeah, that's it. I do recommend Rephr. I think they're a little bit like, they're a new guy, but I think the quality is really good. It's a beautiful design. I'm really happy with all my purchases so far. Please let me know if you have any questions. Click like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.